Hi, I'm Paul, the brother of Andrew. Today, I'm stepping in to narrate this chilling and unsolved story that has haunted Tokyo for over 2 decades, the Setagaya family murders. It's a case that has puzzled investigators, left a neighborhood shaken, and still demands answers to this day. Let's dive into the details of this tragic and mysterious crime as we explore the heartbreaking loss of a family and the clues left behind by the faceless killer. On the night of December 30th, 2000, the Miyazawa family was brutally murdered in their home in Setagaya, a quiet residential neighborhood in Tokyo. This gruesome crime shocked Japan, and despite a massive investigation spanning over 2 decades, the case remains unsolved. The victims, Mikio Miyazawa, his wife Yasuko, and their 2 children, Nina and Rei, were all killed by an unknown intruder. The killer not only committed the murders, but also lingered in the house for hours afterward, leaving behind numerous clues, yet no suspect has been apprehended. On the morning of December 31st, 2000, Yasuko Miya's mother, Haruko, made a horrifying discovery. Unable to reach her daughter by phone, Haruko went to the family's home in the Kamisoshigaya neighborhood. There, she found the lifeless bodies of her daughter, son-in-law Mikio, and their 2 children. Mikio, Yasuko, and Nina had been stabbed to death, while 6-year-old Rei had been strangled. This horrific scene set the stage for what would become one of Japan's most mysterious unsolved murders. Timeline of the murder investigators believe the murders occurred late on the night of December 30th or in the early hours of December 31st, around 11:30 p.m. to 12:05 a.m. The killer entered the house by climbing a tree next to the home and slipping in through an open second-floor bathroom window. After entering, the killer strangled young Rei, who was asleep in his room. The noise woke Mikio, who rushed to the scene and engaged in a struggle with the intruder. Unfortunately, Mikio was overpowered and stabbed multiple times with a sashimi bocho knife. Yasuko and Nina were attacked next, and the killer used a knife from the family's kitchen to finish the horrifying deed. The killer then did something unusual. He stayed in the house for several hours. He used the family's computer, ate their food, and even took a nap on their sofa. He left behind traces of his presence, unflushed feces in the toilet, bloodstains, and fingerprints, before vanishing without a trace. A house of clues. Despite the chaos of the crime scene, the police were able to gather a wealth of evidence. The killer left behind numerous personal items, including a scarf, a jacket, gloves, and a bag. These items, along with other clues, provided investigators with insights into the killer's identity, though none have led to an arrest. One particularly striking clue was the killer's use of the family's computer. At 1:18 a.m., the computer connected to the internet, possibly by the killer himself. However, at 10 a.m. that same morning, around the time Haruko discovered the bodies, the computer was activated again. Some speculate this second connection was accidental, triggered by Haruko when she moved the mouse during her shocking discovery of the crime scene. The Tokyo Metropolitan Police Department, TMPD, launched a massive investigation into the case. Over 240,000 investigators have been involved over the years, and more than 12,000 pieces of evidence have been collected. The police found the killer's DNA and fingerprints throughout the house, yet no match has ever been found in their databases, suggesting that the killer had no prior criminal record. One of the most puzzling aspects of the investigation was the origin of the killer's clothing and other personal items. The sashimi knife used in the murders, for example, was traced to a store in Kanagawa Prefecture. Additionally, a distinctive sweater found at the scene was identified as one of only 130 units ever sold, yet only a handful of the purchasers have been traced. Even more strangely, sand found in the killer's bag was determined to have come from the Nevada desert in the United States, specifically near Edwards Air Force Base in California, and a skate park in Japan. This led police to consider the possibility that the killer had international ties or had spent time abroad. The shoes worn by the killer were another clue. They were made in South Korea but sold by a British company called Slazenger, adding another layer of complexity to the investigation. Despite the many clues, the police have been unable to identify the perpetrator. Based on physical evidence, it is believed the killer was a man around 170 centimeters, 5 feet 7 inches, tall and of slim build. His blood, found at the scene, indicated that he had type A blood and was possibly of mixed race. The DNA analysis suggested that his mother may have had European roots, possibly from the Mediterranean region, while his father was likely of East Asian descent, possibly Korean or Japanese. This unusual genetic makeup prompted the police to seek international help. Interpol was contacted in the hopes that someone outside of Japan might have information about the killer. Over the years, numerous theories have emerged about the motive behind the killings. Some investigators have suggested that the killer may have been motivated by a personal grudge against the family, while others have speculated that it was a random act of violence. One theory, put forward by an ex-FBI profiler in a 2014 TV documentary, claimed that the killer was driven by resentment. However, Yasuko Miyazawa's sister, an Eri, filed a complaint against the documentary, stating that it misrepresented her family and the investigation. There is also speculation that the killer may have been mentally unstable, given his behavior after the murders. The fact that he stayed in the house for several hours, ate the family's food, and made no effort to cover his tracks suggests a degree of detachment from the gravity of his actions. For nearly 2 decades, the house where the Miyazawa family lived and tragically died remained untouched. It stood as a grim reminder of the crime and a symbol of the unresolved case. However, in 2019, the authorities decided to demolish the house. This decision was met with mixed emotions. The police argued that the house, which had deteriorated over the years, posed a safety risk and that all possible evidence had already been collected. The Miyazawa family, however, opposed the demolition, believing that the house was an important memorial to their loved ones and a constant reminder of the need for justice. Despite the family's objections, the house was ultimately torn down. Even with the demolition of the house, the investigation into the Setagaya family murders continues. The case remains open, and police are still offering a reward of $20 million for information leading to the arrest of the killer. Advances in forensic technology, particularly in DNA analysis, give hope that someday new leads may emerge. For now, the case stands as a haunting reminder of a crime that shocked the nation and remains unsolved. Every year, police officers visit the site of the murders for memorial services, paying tribute to the Miyazawa family and renewing their commitment to solving the case. Though the years have passed, the desire for justice and closure for the Miyazawa family remains strong, and the mystery of that tragic night in Setagaya continues to loom large in Japan's collective memory.